My ex still misses me, but her aim is getting better. I just shot myself.
The horror category of Undertale media has gained a lot of traction recently, and I want to see what the hype is about, so we're gonna cover Mount Ebott. My name is Lemon Lime, and if you're new, please subscribe. Also, join the Discord, thanks. The video is a recorded tape that documents the journey inside of Mount Ebott. The story begins as normal introduction of the mountain, but something feels off. The text is shown, and for the past few years, 7 people have been reported missing on Mount Ebott, clearly referring to the 7 kids that fell. The date that the 7th human fell was on September 15th, and the year for some reason is blurred out. Does it have any significance? Nah, not really. The tape tells us that people think that the worst outcome is that the kids fell through the hole and they died. But something uncanny and interesting is shown. The tape plays the regular Undertale game intro where it tells you about the history between humans and monsters. Long ago, 2 races ruled the earth, humans and monsters. The war broke out and humans won, banishing them to the underground. Cheers mate, appreciate it. That was kinda creepy. Now, the reason why that is because we're used to the regular intro of Undertale, not whatever the fuck this is. And before this weird intro was shown, the tape said the monsters could possibly evolve into something terrifying and into something completely unrecognizable. And this approach to Undertale is, chef's kiss, is really good. Because adding this horror element to basically a cozy game such as Undertale is really interesting. It's really contradictory to its actual original source material, but that's the actual uniqueness to it. Definitely Bold Oranges, who also covered this analog series, said that Undertale has one of the greatest potentials to produce good horror media.
Undertale has the perfect well to receive the analog horrification.
And I genuinely agree. But anyways, enough ranting, let's actually continue with the series. Now we move on to the second episode titled Investigation. As the video begins, it says that the tape is for use by the members of only. Any information given in this tape is strictly confidential, and anyone who shares this that are unauthorized to do so is strictly prohibited. It seems like whatever organization is recording these tapes, whether governmental or not, is trying to hide this from the public. But why? Not revealing things to the public could lead to many implications, such as, for example, the tape could cause a disturbance in the political area. It could lead to civil wars, or it could possibly lead to a protest, or maybe they're just trying to cover a dark secret. I don't know. Anyways, we get introduced to 2 characters, Officer Connor and Scott, the cave diver. The police department, after the week of the disappearance of the fallen humans, were basically sent to investigate what's going on, and they were also accompanied by cave divers. The names of the cave divers are Scott and Jeffrey. Now, Scott is the one that speaks to Officer Connor when they basically try to communicate and monitor the progress, while the cave divers are trying to search for the kids. Now, before these young chaps went down the hole, they were given equipment to record, document, and analyze the environment, so that the police officers could basically watch through the cameras and see what basically the cave divers are seeing. And then the video pulls the classic analog conversation part, where 2 images of the characters basically talk, and the audio sounds like dog shit.
Okay, Scott, Jeffrey, can you hear me?
Genuinely, that sounds like an MP3 of a diarrhea. Officer Connor and Scott communicate frequently while the investigation in the underground took place. Jeffrey's also there, but he rarely gets any screen time, so free up my boy Jeffrey, I guess.
Here's our next thing. Good. So, could you explain where you are and your surroundings? We are at the bottom of the hole, and if we're starting as it looks like, about the surroundings, there are a lot of clothes around us and some sort of corridor.
Thank God for the subtitles. Scott then reports to Officer Connor that there's more than just flowers and empty spaces. So Scott and Jeffrey explore further into the environment, and they send creepy images of the ruins, devoid of life and character. The nice mysterious feeling and the vibe it got in the actual original game is gone. Scott is a bit worried about the monsters being alive and dwelling in the ruins, and Officer Connor basically brings the bad news and says, yeah, it's possible they're still down there.
Yes. Do you remember the whole history about monsters inside Mount Ebott? Could be possible that they're down there, but let's give them a glimpse of the mountain. Roger that.
Yeah, I know for a fact Scott was looking like this when he heard that. As more pictures were taken of the ruins, there's still, again, no sign of life. There are no froggets, there are no common enemies that you usually encounter. I have the same feeling when looking at these pictures when I'm looking at the backrooms, for example. Because both environments are meant to have life and are meant to basically have character, but they're devoid of it. Also, where the fuck is Flowey? When Scott and Connor both realize that the underground is literally a whole city, Connor suggested to fall back and bring more people down there. But for some reason, Scott just rejects that idea, and you can guess what happens after. Scott and Jeffrey both enter Toriel's house, and the picture is really unsettling. Officer Connor had a bad feeling about them entering the house, but they still do it.
We found a house. Like, there's a whole tree in the middle of the corner, and behind the tree there's a house. There's windows on the entrance. Maybe these people are here. I have a bad feeling about this. Come on, get Jeffrey and go back to the place we found you last time. We'll get you out of the boat there as soon as you arrive. Scott? What is that thing?
Toriel attacked them, and it's clear as day that she's alive down there. Officer Connor in panic asks what's going on, and Scott confirms that Jeffrey's dead.
What's going on? Just attack us.
When Scott says that it's eating Jeffrey, it's kind of terrifying to think that Toriel would even consume a human like that. Unfortunately for Scott, he got lost deeper in the ruins, and as he panicked more, things became more blurry. He ended up in halls that he's never seen before, and everything became more confusing to him. As he panicked more, Toriel unfortunately found him, and unfortunately he shared the same fate as Jeffrey. Something about a man begging for his life is really unsettling, and something about Toriel, the most kind and gentle-spirited character in Undertale, being the cause of their death is even more unsettling. The original source material is very contradictory to this analog AU, but that's the scary part. Toriel, the one who can't even hurt a fly, can't even kill Frisk, is now bloodthirsty and causing carnage. In the original game, if you're really low on HP while fighting Toriel, she can't bring herself to keep on attacking you. That's why she purposely misses and tries to avoid you. But in this AU, she has no mercy. Also, RIP Jeffrey, bro. The guy did nothing wrong. But it's safe to say that Toriel was the one who killed him. I mean, who else would do it? What, a fucking Frogget? Before Scott and Jeffrey die, they capture the final moments, and we see the pillars and the room they were running to. But we also see what attacked them. Those are eyes of Toriel. Got you again, pussy. The third episode we will look at is Through the Forest, but just to clarify, I'm going by the playlist, so I don't know if this is canon or not. Oh wait, it isn't canon, but I'll cover it anyway. The tape begins with Frisk asking if the camera is working. Oh, it does, thank goodness. Anyways, hello whoever you are. I highly doubt someone will ever find this. My name is Frisk, and I'm the 7th person who's missing on Mount Ebott. Wait, I thought Frisk was the 8th person that I don't fucking know. They show the camera little sketches they made of themselves in Toriel, which clearly belongs in the art museum, mate, if you ask me. Frisk later in this tape talks about how they met Toriel and barely escaped her, and I think Frisk was being chased by Sans, or whatever the fuck this is, bro, I don't know. Tell me in the comments what that is, cause I genuinely want to know. But as they explore outside the ruins, she finally arrives in Snowdon, and it's empty. This analog series seems to cut off the common enemies or characters you see in Snowdon. And the scary part is, they're not confirmed dead or alive, which makes it a bit horrifying. Where are they? The vagueness and loneliness kind of makes it more scarier. The fact that we're ignorant, it adds more fuel to the tension. As Frisk explored deeper into the woods, we see a tall figure looking at us. It's Papyrus, just observing, staring. Bro, is that Gaster? Somehow Frisk escapes Papyrus by maneuvering around the woods, and that's where the episode ends. The next episode is canon and is called The History of Monsterkind, which takes a very interesting turn. Fuck! Yo, bro. Yo.
What you saying, bro? What you doing?
Okay, let's try that again. The next episode, which I think is canon, is called The History of Monsterkind, and it takes a really interesting turn. Instead of the tape being produced by a human organization, it's produced by monsters. It's called Rune Film. This is an interesting twist because we never get the perspective of the antagonist in analog horror series, but now that we do, we see their perspective of things. The tape plays the same, just the history of monster kind and what the humans did, and the layout of the underground. But the main focus of this episode isn't the history, but the core.
Thanks to the core, it is possible to live in every part of the underground without worrying about anything. The core spreads such things as food and electricity through the entire underground, making the life of our kind easier. Without the creation of the core, monsters wouldn't have evolved that much and that fast in such things like magic and technology.
The main message of this tape is to bring hope to the monsters, and it just documents the history of the development. They hope that they can basically be freed from the underground.
May the Lord save us and help us rise again.
May the Lord save us and rise again, which I think is referring to Asgore as their lord, but maybe I'm wrong. The core at the end was clearly malfunctioning, which is the start of Monsterkind's downfall. I wonder what AU also made the core shutting down the main plot point of the story. Anyways, the next episode is titled Decay of Civilization, and this episode, it's dark. The tape begins as usual, made by Rune Films, and this one actually has a narrator.
On the 14th of May, 1945, the kingdom of Monsterkind got its new ruler. On this day, His Majesty Prince Asgore Dreamer and his wife, Her Majesty Princess Toriel Dreamer, were coronated in the Hockland Cathedral, located in the central square of the capital. From this day, the kingdom is under the control and protection of His Royal Highness, King Asgore I. May the Lord save the king.
It's kind of interesting that they believe in the Lord, which I guess they mean God, but I never imagined the monster kind from Undertale to really believe in any form of like a divine entity. But other than that, the tape goes on and shows us the aftermath of the core's explosion. As we saw the flames of the aftermath, there's a paragraph that seems to be a statement from maybe one of the scientists, and it reads, "We could have gotten the water from the waterfall, since the region has enough water to put out the fire 2 times larger than the one we're dealing with. Heck, the whole underground should be helping us put the fire out. But no, the king doesn't let us get water from the waterfall, since it will waste the water supplies of the neighborhood region, and that this fire isn't much of a threat as the Hotlanders describe it. Does he even know what's happening here? The whole Hotland burned into one massive bonfire. Everything is burning. Even the waterfall and the cities near the old capital are on fire. But this bastard is hiding in his palace and doesn't see what's going on. He probably doesn't even know that soon this whole disaster will affect every living soul in here very soon." This writing is crazy. In the original game of Undertale, Asgore is portrayed by Toriel as a coward, as a man who neglects the kingdom and his people. For example, he didn't free the monsters with 1 human soul, but instead he had to basically gather 7. But then again, he probably would have got like beaten up by the humans. So the point is though, this analog series accurately captures the character trait of Asgore and how he doesn't want to face the harsh truth and act as a king. In a sense, Asgore is a coward, and this analog horror really pushes that narrative. We then see a dialogue between Toriel and Asgore, and it's kind of how I actually expected them to actually talk about the situation.
Tori, are you okay?
No, I'm not. For the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to come up with any ideas on how to fix the situation, yet no good ideas come up in my head.
Well, Tori, you shouldn't stress out that much. You need to rest. You've been looking awfully exhausted lately.
I can't rest. Asgore, do you even realize what is happening? The core is gone. It exploded, and 2/3 of the territory of Hotland is in ruins from the shockwave of fire. And that's not it. The whole underground is suffering from the migration crisis. The civilians from Hotland are running to the waterfall or the capital. There are dozens of monsters stuck in the border of the capital because there are just too much of them coming. There have been also high numbers of clashes between the civilians and the guards. Oh, and how could I forget? Since the core is gone, magic is now dangerously limited. Without the core, we can't generate food or magic. We can't have electricity or filtration of the air.
This is interesting because Horuto, a very famous AU, also used the core exploding as the main plot point for the monster's downfall. The core is their source of life, and if they're ripped from that, then the whole underground is essentially fucked, and that's what Mount Ebott is basically trying to get at. Torio later then yells at Asgore for not coming up with the solution, and Torio in the series basically is done right. She's clearly very empathetic, and it's very accurate to the original source material. And if this canonically happened, I kinda expect her to act the same way she's acting in the series. Asgore says that he's trying to evacuate the civilians in Hotland, but Torio just still gets on his ass.
But we don't need core to make food. Asgore, do you really not understand the whole situation? Are you really that ignorant and naive? What about the electricity? Without it, you can't make anything nowadays. There have been reports of monsters suffering from famine in the most distant parts of the underground because not only they don't have any connections with the core, but also they are suffering from the loss of electricity. They are starving. The monsters are starving. And I am trying to come up with any idea on how to fix all of this, which is weird. Since you are the ruler of the underground, you should be the one thinking about how to fix that. I ordered to organize the refugee camps, also the evacuation centers in Hotland so that there will be less injured civilians. Did you think about the core? Did you think about how to bring the electricity back? Did you think about how to save your people from starvation? I did, but I... What do you mean, what? You didn't think of that? Look at me! I've been eating as little as possible so that Kara and Azrael could eat more. And you didn't think of how to make something so that everyone could eat as much as they want. Toya, I'm trying. You don't give a shit about your own people. That's not true. Nothing serious, dear. Go back to sleep now.
Anyways, as Asgore continues to make empty promises, we see what happens 2 weeks after the explosion. Mettaton, as the news broadcaster, tells us that the fire is caused by the explosion and it's getting closer to the borders of the waterfall in Hotlands.
The casualties have grew from 100 to 10,000 across the underground. Considering what is happening right now in the underground, it seems like a lot of monsters won't live long for that moment. And we wonder what we will do now. How are we gonna live? This is the question that everyone is asking. But the most realistic and, unfortunately, the worst case scenario is that we will go back to the Stone Age.
The casualties went from 100 to 10,000 across the entire underground, which shows that the situation kind of needs immediate action, which we find out that Asgore did fuck all. Mettaton says that they might even go back to the Stone Age if nothing is done. The next part of this tape is strictly for the royal family.
After a long time of suffering, when we thought it couldn't get worse, another tragedy happened in the royal family. Kara Dreamer, human that was adopted by the royal family, got terribly sick by flu. A week later, Kara Dreamer passed away from the virus that was too strong for Chare's already weakened organism. The king and queen are mourning the loss. The child of man was buried underneath the golden flowers with the view to the sky, in royal family's private garden. These flowers were deeply loved by Kara. Now she can finally rest in peace right underneath her favorite flowers. Fly high, Kara Dreamer.
Something about this part of the video is really unsettling and I can't put my finger on it. Why did it bring a sense of uncomfort and ease? We now get to see what happens 1 month later. We see Torio completely unrecognizable due to the starvation, and a text appears saying everything's getting worse. The whole underground is suffering from epidemics and famine. I lost my child. I'm starving. I want to eat. I want to eat. I want to eat. Asgore then came back home and calls for Torio, but there's no response.
Tori, I'm home. I was talking with Dr. Alphys, and it seems like we can fix the core earlier than we thought. We could finish it before we will lose more of our civilians. Tori? Hello? Is anyone home?
And then this is where shit hits the fan.
Oh, Tori, here you are. Did you hear what I told you?
She ate Azrael, bro. Holy shit. I don't know why, but this part of the analog series just really creeped me out. Well, obviously, we just witnessed a woman eat her own child because she got the yum-yums. But still, something about how it was executed was so well done and so nerve-wracking. The context of the character is kind and caring, but we slowly witness her become insane and on the brink of cannibalism. The final part of this episode is just a song they used before the underground went completely silent. Absolute cinema. This series is peak, and I don't know why, but it just makes sense and it fits with the actual characters. The dread and the horrible feeling that things can only get worse just adds the tension to this analog series. And the question now arises, is Gaster involved? Alright, before we go like schizo theorizing, let's actually relax. The next episode is called Great Disaster, and this is one of the biggest videos lengthwise, so I guess we have to do a lot of reading. My dyslexic ass is cooked. This episode begins with the Monsterkind Broadcast Corporation instead of Rune Films, which is interesting. I also think that the series gave up on the human side of the analog horror, which is fine I guess, but I think it's cool getting the antagonist perspective of the whole disaster. King Asgore makes a speech during the 100th anniversary of the monsters being trapped underground. The speech gave the monsters hopes and dreams about escaping the underground and finally triumphing over humans. Monsters are happy and we get introduced to Project Spear of Justice. What could this project be about? Well, it's about the core's energy breaking through the barrier, and it's being documented and monitored by the scientists.
Project Spear of Justice was developed by the royal scientists by King Asgore's order. But before explaining what the project is about, we need to know how the core works. At the core there are 4 containers and 1 massive reactor in the middle. Each container stands for storing and delivering different important resources that the royal scientists add into them and control their amount. These resources include magic, electricity, warm water and food that can be delivered quickly from one region to another in minutes.
The tape explains how the core works, and the core having 4 areas where the resources are implemented, so it basically powers the central core. They include water, magic, food, and electricity. And it gives a warning: if the containers don't have enough resources, then it should be transported to the main reactor, and the gate should be closed.
Because if the reactor gets imbalanced amount of the resources, it can cause a variety of issues, from mixing resources with each other too.
The scientists also use magic to fill the containers.
Mostly the scientists themselves give their magic to fill the containers after there is a balance between...
Yeah, that must have been the wind, mate. After the core explanation, we get introduced to the 2 scientists that are monitoring the project and the reactor, Dr. Sparkle and Dr. Fergus. Dr. Fergus. They go through the basic procedure, but Dr. Fergus ultimately messes everything up.
Hey, Sparkle, you want me to bring you something to drink? As a celebration of possibly succeeding in our project. Sparkle, is everything okay?
Did you block the passages of the containers to the main reactor?
Yes I did. What's wrong?
Look at the screen. Why does it show that 3 containers released their contents into the main reactor?
Hold on,
Fergus, that was the first thing that we needed to do. Did you forget to do that?
No, I was sure I blocked them.
Do you know what could have happened?
Was it nice?
Alphys then alerts Asgore, and Alphys was the one who suggested to use the water from the waterfall, but Asgore rejects the plan and says, no, it's not a big deal.
Your Majesty!
Dr. Alphys, what's wrong? You don't look so good.
The core! It exploded! It's on fire!
Excuse me?
The people of Hotland don't have enough water in their region to put out the fire. They require water from neighboring waterfall region. Your Majesty, please allow them to get water from there. Your Majesty.
Oh, it's nothing, really. About the water. Why do they need the water so much that they require more water from another region? I'm sure they'll be fine and the fire will be put out easily.
But, Your Majesty.
I answered your requests. You were dismissed.
Your Majesty, was she serious about the core exploding? Your Majesty?
I'm sorry. I need some space.
Remember the paragraph from the mysterious person complaining about Asgore's lack of action and how he didn't use the water from the waterfall? Yeah, I think Alphys wrote that. And then we got the most bone-chilling calls with the fire department in Waterfall and Hotlands.
Underground Fire Department, what's your emergency?
There was an explosion at the core which caused a fire. Hotland firefighters are trying to put it down, but it doesn't go out very well. Our water supplies are running out.
Okay, let me contact you to the local Hotland firefighter station.
Everyone from every single station here in Hotland is already here, but it's still not enough to put the fire down. We need more water from neighboring regions to put the fire down.
I understand. I contacted the Waterfall Firefighters Department. The Waterfall Firefighters are on their way.
It happened
Can you explain what exactly happened?
Everything was quiet until the core started shaking violently. We thought that it was just doing its job as usual, just a bit more active, and then suddenly alarms broke out, and then it just blows up. So where the hell's the water from Waterfall?
It's on its way. It's gonna arrive soon.
It has been only 30 minutes and it's still not here. Just send this water from anywhere. I don't give a shit. We need water right now. The fire is too strong.
A second explosion took place, and it says that everyone in the underground felt the ground shake. This wouldn't have happened if Asgore listened to Alphys, and I think it's safe to say that this is Asgore's fault.
What was that noise? Maybe it's the magic that finally...
Your Majesty! Your Majesty!
What's wrong?
The core!
I'm sorry, but haven't I told you and Dr. Alphys that I do not allow sent water from the waterfall? The fire is surely not as dangerous as people say.
Your Majesty! The core exploded again! Much stronger than before! There have already been reports of hundreds of deaths and thousands of injured people around Hotland. The shockwave from the explosion damaged some of the pipelines in other regions. Your Majesty, this is a severe disaster that is gonna affect hundreds of thousands of people, including the royal family. What are your orders? Your Majesty?
Oh, contact me with the royal scientists immediately.
Yes, in a minute.
Asgore then spaces out when his scientists are telling him that the core exploded the second time. Great job, mate. And this is where Gaster comes in. Around the 4 and 15 minute mark, we get like flashbanged with a paragraph of Wingdings, and I cannot read that shit. But thanks to the creator of the series, they basically translated for us. They didn't realize that they made a death sentence for themselves when they started working on this project. If the process of sending magic from the core went straight to the barrier, it wouldn't have went perfectly. It would have still ended in a disaster, because the core and especially the pipes weren't built for that kind of pressure that they wanted to put in the core. And in the 15-minute mark, Gaster also says, you know what's the most funny thing about this whole situation? When the monsters were sealed under the mountain, they obviously had no core. Not only that, but when they were sealed underground, they eventually faced the process of evolution, when their bodies and behavior changed. But it didn't bring any negative effects. It made them more agile, and they could survive without food or water for much longer than before. The same thing would have happened with them again when the core exploded, but the main problem was that the monsters became too spoiled with all of the technologies and privileges they had that their ancestors could not even dream about. The newer generation has become too carefree, too sensitive, too dependent on their creations. Monsters back in the days didn't have electricity and were living just fine. Meanwhile, for the new generation, if there was, for example, a temporary power outage or an internet outage, if they would even have the internet back then, the whole underground would have drowned in hysteria, only worsening the situation. Monsters have doomed themselves by trying to live more comfortable and easy lives. Gaster, who we don't even know if he plays a big role in this story, says that even if everything was followed correctly, it would still have been a disaster, since the core wasn't able to handle that much energy in the tubes. Basically, Gaster is saying that they were doomed already from the start, and then Gaster says some shit about, back in my day, monsters didn't have Wi-Fi, your generation is soft. Basically, Gaster has a boomer moment, and that's all we get of Gaster. He just leaves a cryptic message laughing at the Gen Z of monsters and then jogs on with his day. Again, I don't think he plays a significant role in this season, but I mean, how could he? I assume the lore of Gaster in this AU didn't change and he still fell in the core. Asgore and Alphys have a talk again, and Alphys basically says that some lives were saved and the casualties decreased by 40%.
1.5 weeks after you organized the evacuation of Hotlanders to the refugee camps in the outskirts of Hotland, the casualties decreased by 40%. I know it's not as good as 80%, for example, but still good, right?
Absolutely. That's wonderful to hear.
There's more good news from me. The blueprints of the core were intact. That means we can use them to rebuild the core instead of trying to build it from memories and photos.
That's fantastic.
After this, Asgore the fat ass gets offered noodles and he went on his merry way.
I made some cup noodles for us. Would you like some?
Sure. Thank you.
Oh, and just to clarify, this episode obviously takes place before like Toriel ate Asriel, so just a heads up. Alphys then asks Asgore how's the family doing, and he just says they're fine, and Toriel's acting a bit weird.
So, Your Majesty, how is your family?
Oh, they've been, well, not bad, but could have been better. Toriel is acting weird, but Asriel has been doing just fine. He stays at home more often than usual for obvious reasons, but other than that, he's been fine.
What do you mean? by Toriel acting weird. I'm sure everything will be fine. Maybe Her Majesty is just very stressed out and might say and do strange things.
Possibly. She has been really emotional for as long as I remember, so maybe it will eventually fade away.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, Alphys, the next episode's show will be great, mate. This section gets really eerie. We see Asriel's perspective, and we both know what's about to happen. The paper is a report on the incident, and it just describes the gruesome details how Toriel basically killed Asriel, but in the background you can hear Asriel's screams. Jesus fucking Christ. This scene is really well done, and it creeped me out a lot. And, well, to be fair, because I was watching this at 2 a.m, but this episode made you really feel bad for Asriel. Imagine being in his shoes. You're the son of the most privileged family, thinking you're safe from danger, but your own mother just emerges from the shadows and looks really deep in your soul. And then she jumps at you and then consumes you. Pretty terrifying if you ask me, mate.
Your Majesty! Your Majesty!
Doctor.
Your Majesty, I'm so sorry for what happened.
This would be my honest reaction if my wife ate my child because she had the munchies.
What should we do? What can I do for you?
There's no need for you to do anything. You have already done so much.
Asgore clearly becomes depressed and just wants to lock himself away from responsibility and consequences. After this, Alphys basically says that everything is going downhill after Asgore basically resigned and abandoned monster kind. No electricity, lack of food, and a lot of riots.
King Asgore, former king, has locked himself in the throne room and refuses to get out of there. The queen was sent to life in prison of the new capital, far away in the most western part of the underground. After the king left us, everything went downhill. I heard that the new capital is in chaos because of the heavy restrictions of literally everything. Electricity, water, food, everything is very limited. The reason for it is that the city is located far away from the old capital and other major cities, making the aid transportation to the new capital much more difficult. And what's worse is that the new capital doesn't have enough facilities or factories to produce vital supplies, like, for example, electricity. The city has always been dependent on foreign aid and supplies. The people there are protesting and committing violent riots, making the city the most dangerous place in the underground. Snowden, meanwhile, is suffering the same thing as the new capital. The lack of food and electricity led to massive famine and unrest in the region. Waterfall isn't having a great time either, but at least they don't have water problems. 50% of the territory in Hotland became uninhabitable because of the explosions and wildfires that happened about a month ago. The whole underground is in turmoil. We have no leader to follow, plans, no ideas what to do. I mean, they have some ideas, but it's unlikely that they might work. I don't know what to do. I don't know anymore. I just want everything to end.
Alphys' entry number is bone-chilling because the voice actor who plays Alphys just nails it and does a great job at conveying emotion, and mwah, chef's kiss. After this, we get informed that no one is in command of the royal army and someone has to step up, and it's Undyne. It's stated that Undyne is angry at Asgore for abandoning his people and she basically wants him killed. She leads a revolution against the king and tries to take over, and this part is, oh my god, it's so cool. And Asgore just beat the fraud allegations. He single-handedly fucked Undyne and made her army retreat, but at the cost of achieving nothing. We then cut to Mettaton, feeling a bit depressed, but he then decides to visit Alphys and cheer her up.
No one is really interested in my shows because only a small percentage of people have access to still somehow working TV nowadays. Anyway, there is no time for me to be sad and all that. I gotta check Dr. Alphys. I haven't seen her at all today.
Until this happens.
Alphys, darling, you need to leave your room at least once every day. You know you can't be there forever. There's still plenty of canned food left, and I know that you can't live without eating at least one can per day. Hello? Alphys? Come on, darling. It's time to come out.
Yeah, that just happened. Alphys took the easy way out and left Mettaton stranded in his hellhole. Now, some may say that she's a coward, and some may say, I don't know what they would say, but yeah, just, I don't know, comment down your opinion. Something about this scene gave me the chills the same way that Doki Doki Literature Club did. It's the use of the lab soundtrack being slowed down while watching a corpse of Alphys just hanging from, the ceiling. Again, I'm not trying to blame Asgore for this, but if he just listened to Alphys, none of this would have happened. Basically would have been like less of a disaster, but you know. Just imagine being Asgore, losing your wife, losing your child, and losing your best scientists. And then he literally has himself to blame. Like, yeah, the second season is not going to be really, really nice on him. The final part of this episode is a tape of how monsters evolved and trying to adapt to the current state of the underground. And the Temmies look so interesting. Stage 3 all the way up to Stage 5 gets worse and worse, and oh god, I can imagine what Sans will look like. Now, there's not a lot of episodes after this, but just extras. Oh wait, there's actually one more. The episode is titled On the Other Side, and it's only 15 minutes long. The tape begins with a shot of Mount Ebott and the sun's down. I think that the tape is made by a company or a tape distribution organization, I don't know. And it shows you what houses near Mount Ebott looks like, somewhat full of life. Until a massive landslide happens.
Good evening, everyone. This is Pine Tree Radio with the daily news update. Just over an hour ago, a massive landslide has occurred off the side of Mount Ebott, located in the northeast windway near the city of Sundown. The landslide sent tons of solid rocks and debris across its path, cascading down the valley and hitting eastern parts of Sundown. As of recent update, 10 people are reported dead, and around 40 people are missing.
10 people confirmed dead and 40 people missing. This could have been caused by the destruction of the core, but maybe not. In September, somewhere around 2010 or 2019, I don't know what's the point of blurring out the dates. I genuinely do not see the significance, but hey, you do you, man. We see Mount Ebott. Everything is quiet, too quiet. We finally get introduced to our human protagonist, and they get a text from somebody. Hey, I have something really cool to tell you. I'll be at your home soon.
What is it this time?
Hey!
I can tell this guy's gotta go.
How have you been doing?
Hey, I'm good. Do you want to come in?
Oh, no. I just came here to say a few things. So, you see this mountain over there?
Wait, no way that's the Wojak point, bro. This series is peak, holy shit. The guy yaps away about the history of monsters, and for some reason, the humans forgotten about them as if they were fairy tales.
You know about the legend of monsters under Mount Ebott?
Say what?
It's interesting how no one kept the tradition of humans versus monsters going, and it's as if they weren't taught about it, almost as if they wanted the history gone.
Tell me, why did you come here, and what's the point of your story?
Well, you already know that I am a master at going to risky places. So, I'm going to go up to the mountain and go down to the underground to actually see if there are some possible ruins of their civilization. Or maybe that they live here to this day.
Is this what unemployment does to your brain?
Oh my god, that jump scare fucking got me.
What?
Dude, you've been sticking your head into so many forbidden and dangerous places. Also, this is a fairy tale, so where is the proof of their existence? And also, a lot of monster believers tried to go into the underground after 1973, and what did they find? Nothing. Because they all died and disappeared. Plus, the whole area around the mountain is surrounded with fences because of people like you that went looking there for monsters and never came back.
What does it have to do with me being unemployed?
You have nothing better to do than risk your own life. Why not actually try to start an actual life?
You sound like you're better than me just because you got the job once.
Well, I did have this summer.
Where's yourself?
Wait, what is this analog horror about, bro? After the yap sesh, the guy goes away, and I don't know why, this part of the analog series kind of reminds me of Undertale Uncanny, which I lost all progress making the video on, but yeah, in Undertale Uncanny, Frisk and the others try to explore the underground because of the myths and the rumors about the monsters, and then they had to climb over a fence because, well, it was prohibited to go in there. After that, we cut to a guy scanning his groceries, and oh, the quality is just, it's amazing. It's just PNGs going up, bro. The bold cashier asks our protagonist if they want to work here again because the country isn't really doing well, and she might need it.
That'll be $8.50. Hey Gunvor, would you like to come to work here again? There's one place available and I thought you might want to take it. Since, you know, the situation in our country isn't the best. Whatever you have in mind, you're always welcome here.
Oh, thank you. I will definitely think about it.
Nothing really happens here, but the next scene is interesting. The Scottish bloke finally gets close to the hall in Mount Ebott and he records it.
So, there it is. So close, yet so far. Hello? I promised her that I won't go there. I mean, how am I even gonna go there besides jumping?
Nothing happens out of the ordinary, but he hears something.
I can go now. Oh, I also got the comments. Did I just hear something?
That actually got me, by the way. What is that, by the way? Asgore? I mean, the horns might suggest that, but how did he even get out there? Oh, the cave diver's soul. Oh, okay. Yeah, humanity's cooked. Actually, wait, that kind of looks like Gaster. After that, the camera falls and we cut to the protagonist reminiscing and remembering the time she went with her dad.
I remember hiking with my dad over there when I was little. I think I have hiked across all of the places that surround the town. I feel like even with a weather like this, the trees were more colorful back then.
She gets home catching up with the father, but we see a strange drawing and it said that she saw this in her dream. Now, why does Gaster appear in their dream? Or is it a warning done by Gaster purposely, or were they supposed to see that? I can't feel my limbs. I felt someone's presence and I fainted. I couldn't move when I saw it again. I have no clothes to warm me up. Wait, what? It's so cold down here. It's so lonely down here. Gunvor. Please, Gunvor, get me out of here. Yo, that's fucking Gaster, bro. Holy shit, look at him. Oh my goodness.
I saw it before. I saw it again.
It was a dream, and we ask ourselves, did this really happen? Yeah, most likely the Scottish guy died, by the way. Now, there's a lot I want to talk about, but first I want to address the name they use for the protagonist. Gunvor is a feminine name, and it comes from a Norse origin. Gunvor means cautious in war, and is used for warrior women. Okay, but why is she getting dreams about Gaster? Now, there's two answers. Gaster is communicating with her in her dreams, and Gaster said that Earth doesn't belong to you, as if he's giving her a warning, or a heads up of what's about to come. Or the second answer is that Gaster doesn't really have control over anyone's dreams, and fate or the universe just made her see what Gaster was cooking up. I do think the first answer makes sense, but then again, why would you give away the fact that monsters exist and they're free now? Wouldn't it be better to, you know, attack them in secret when they least expect it? Also, we saw a bunch of wingdings before the Scottish bloke like bit the dust, and it says something, I guess. I wonder if Asgore or Undyne or any monsters in the underground know about Gaster's presence, and are they dead?
Dad?
Sorry, sweetheart. I'll be right back. Okay.
Gunvor is sitting in silence on their bed, and they worry about the Scottish bloke.
This can't be. He couldn't actually go there. He promised me. He gave me a promise.
And as they look out the window, they see Mount Ebott. Gunvor then decides to go there and save him, until this happens.
Stan! What's good?
Oh, George! I'm fine, thank you. How have you been so far?
Great, too! How's Gunvor?
She's okay. Went to sleep earlier than usual. Maybe because of what happened to her friend.
Huh? Didn't she leave with all that hiking gear somewhere 30 minutes ago?
What?
Yeah, Gaster, we see the fit, bro, trust me. Why is he ore farming? I love how the human side of things aren't really happy as well. The country looks miserable and it's always dark and gloomy. Literally the UK, holy shit. The voice acting is so good and it's really well done, and I do want to point out one thing. I get the fact that the father's concerned, but I do have a hunch that he knows about the monsters and he's trying to keep her away from that history. But at the end of the day, I do think this is one of the best series I've ever seen regarding analog horror and just mixing with Undertale. This series perfectly rises tension when it needs it, and it's really well done. Also, if you notice, the underground is really gloomy and stormy, which clearly wasn't like that before. So something happened when Gaster showed up, and I wonder, where are the other monsters? Where's Undyne? Where's Asgore? There's no way they died out, but there's no way they're alive, allowing this monstrosity to exist. Anyways, that's it. See ya.
Disney. I'm not these rappers, I got real bands. In the crib, bustin' my tail, lil dance. I don't troll, I do it for the real fans. Play this song and turn it with my little man. And my real name Max. And I really got plaques, yeah. Double digits, no cap. I'm the real plaque boy Max.